to be with you here once again. And I've decided to take the On Air Book Club straight live to you. Now, the On Air Book Club is a baby of mine that started many years ago. And it started from my love of books. For those that know me quite closely, they know that I love to read and read and read and then proceed to read some more. Now, the book chat that I'm having today is going to be with a revolutionary author, a thought leader, someone who has a track record of reproducing thought leaders and helping them gain dominance within their niche. This person spent 10 years of his life working as a mechanical engineer for a multinational oil servicing company. And during his years working there, he met many different individuals, gifted, but they couldn't really come to terms with showcasing their gifts to humanity. He has redesigned something special just for them. He left his job to focus on helping individuals who have a message to share, and maybe they're a little doubtful, or maybe you could say confused, and have the opportunity to become exceptional by clarifying their messages. Hopefully, with his help, they've been able to build platforms for communication of their ideologies. They've been able to build ways to earn by establishing profitable business systems. And he does this primarily through writing, consulting, coaching, and training interventions. It's the one and only Emeka Nobis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. And
All
thank you
right,
very
so
much.
I'm very pleased to meet you. Very,
Thank
very
you.
pleased to meet you.
Thank you
So
very much.
the author side of Emeka Nobis, you need to let us in on how that all started. When was the first time you decided to put pen to paper?
Okay, that was 2011. Actually, I had gotten employed by an oil servicing company. That was in 2006, and immediately after I got employed in 2006 on March 26th, they took me abroad. They took me to Italy. That was the first time I was leaving Nigeria, and they sent me there to be trained because the intention at the time was for me to become the first indigenous construction manager the company would ever have. And so they sent me on training to Italy to be there for 1 year to be trained on how to manage people, manage resources, and learn a lot more when it has to do with construction, building of topside models that oil servicing companies build for oil companies.
It does seem like Emeka might.
And it
Okay.
was while I was there asking me if this was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life, I mean, working for the rest of my life. And I wasn't really given, I wasn't really given
Okay, it does seem like we're having some internet challenges here. I'm not sure whether whether it's from his end or mine, but it does seem like there's a little lag period. But not to worry, we have you covered. Now, Emeka Nobis is the author of a book called "Your Book Will Sell."
Okay, I think I got
Your
off at
book,
some point.
yes, you went offline,
Oh,
and
sorry.
you were wrapping up with your background and how writing began for you.
Oh, okay, so I said that by the time I got the job and I was sent to Italy for 1 year to learn how to become a manager in the company. The voice kept on coming and asking me if that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I wasn't I'd become a graduate, gotten a job, and looking forward to enjoying my life working in an oil servicing company. But that voice kept on coming. And by the time I got back to Nigeria in 2007, the voice kept on coming. I did very little, just, subtle asking question in my spirit, in my mind. I don't know. Sort of made me go crazy at some point, asking why is this voice coming at this time in my life. So it was sometime in 2009 where I now heard um, in my spirit again, if God has to write, you have a voice to speak, use them to be a blessing to humanity. So that was how I became quite intentional about it. And I really didn't think about writing a book at the time. But as I began to interact with my colleagues at work and I began to listen to them share their problems with me and how I was able to solve their problems, and just giving them little pieces of advice here and there, then I just had this inkling to write a book. And so I started out. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I just wanted to put, words down in the book and just put it out there. And the fact that I was also inspired by the likes of Miles Monroe, I liked how he authored his books and put himself in front of on the front cover of the books, pictures of him on the front cover. And I was looking forward to the day that I would be on the front cover of the book. And so I just started writing, just putting thoughts down here and there, and things that I was learning, things that I was finding on the internet at the time, some discoveries I was making, and conversations with my colleagues at work, colleagues, my relations, and my friends. And so I started just piling all those things in, just writing them, get to work, write them on the system, put them in MS Word. Just kept on, piling them. So it was in 2011 that I released the book called The Profound Life. That was my very first book. I'm not
Okay.
proud. I'm not proud of the book right now,
Why? Why not? That's a
because
that's an interesting thing to say.
because when I read the book, I'm like, man, Emeka, was he that wrote this book? It looks kind of childish to me right now, and I don't even sell it. I don't even carry it around. I don't even tell
Really?
people that. Yeah,
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
the last copy is there on my shelf in my in my house, and I really sell the book. So that was how I launched the book. So I wrote the book in 2010, finished it, and then I launched it in 2011. Something remarkable happened that made me to come on this journey of marketing. So I had printed 1,000 copies of the book. Well, as the case as the case is for a lot of us here in Nigeria, it wasn't traditionally published.
Okay.
I had to pay.
Self-publishing.
I had to pay to have,
Self-publishing.
yeah,
Yeah.
self-publishing. And part of the money I even borrowed from my
Mm.
company at the time, because the company could give you non-interest loan. So I borrowed some money from the company to publish that book. I can't remember. I think it was about 400,000 or so that I borrowed from the company. I can't remember exactly. And so I felt that by the time I brought the book out, people will rush the book and buy it. Emeka Nobis has written the book. Let's go buy it. Surprisingly, I was able to do just 200 copies that were bought from my colleague. But my colleagues bought, a few friends bought us, and a few church members bought. And I couldn't sell anymore. I couldn't sell beyond the 200 copies thereabout. So I didn't know jack about marketing. I didn't know jack about how to position myself. I didn't know jack about what it took to be able to sell books. I just felt that the moment I brought the book out, that people would buy the book, but it didn't happen for me like that. And so I ended up giving away more than 700 copies of that book, just give them away to people, places I traveled to, people I met, or just dashing copies of the book, to people. And it was painful to me because after a while I realized, man, you spent money to produce a book, but you just dashed them to people, and you really didn't make your money back. So that was what led me, down the track of trying to understand what really makes books to sell. So I didn't write a new book anymore. Between 2011 and 2017, I didn't publish any book. All I was doing was to understand what makes books to sell. What is it that
Mm.
makes books to sell? So I kept on attending lessons, attending seminars, webinars online, following Americans and other great people who are doing well in the publishing industry and selling their books. And that was how I learned how it was on along it was on that journey that I learned how to build my own platform from a man called Michael Hyatt. He's an American, and so I had to sign up for 1 year Then I was paying $30 per month to learn from him how to build my own platform, how to become influential, how to become famous, how to become known, how to become noticed, how to become not seen. And so I was learning from him how to build my platform, public speaking, use of social media, appearing on radio, appearing on TV, Facebook ads, a whole lot of stuff, collaborative ventures, tours, how to do tours, how to expose yourself and building a community of individuals who trust you and love you, and that when you bring a book out, they are willing to buy. So I was learning all that from Market Hyatt and many other webinars, people like John Maxwell, Brian Tracy. I was just focused on the mark to learn how what makes a book to sell. So it's not just about writing a great book. A great book will not sell itself. That time they will tell you that a good product will sell itself. I think it's all about a dash to me now, because you may have a great product, but if you're not able to market it and put it out there in the public and tell the public why they should buy the book, compelling reasons for them to buy the book, you may not sell. So that's my own focus when it has to do with authoring books. So in 2017, and I came out and I wrote an ebook. So I decided to test the market again, not to print another book, not to publish another printed book. So I wrote an ebook, and in 90 days I was able to do 3 million. And I was like, man, that means this is working. I mean, the title
Mm,
of that book is Addicted to Writing. Addicted to
mm.
Writing. It's here. I have a copy of the book here with me. And so in less than 90 days, I was able to do 3 million naira. And I was good. I was like, man, this is beautiful. I like what is happening now. And that same year, 2017, I went ahead to do seven other ebooks. Those books
Wow.
I have printed all of
Seven
them out.
in
Yeah,
one
seven
year.
in one year. So I did seven ebooks in one year in 2017, and it was amazing. So by 2018, I now decided to convert all those ebooks into printed books. So I converted not all of them. There are some of them I didn't convert into printed books, but the ones that people bought a whole lot more. Now I began to understand the business of authoring books. So I looked at the books that people were buying, and then I decided to convert them. The list of my books that I didn't sell well that year was a book on poetry. So I wrote a book on poetry called Stiff Nipples
Hmm.
at the time. So
But are you a poet though? So were you
I
just
decided,
trying to find what works? Were you throwing stuff at the wall to see what
no,
sticks?
no,
Or did you
I'm
actually
better.
have stories?
No. I'm more inclined towards nonfiction writing.
Okay.
So, but then one of my models that I was following at the time said to me, Emeka, go and start reading poetry. If you read
Mm,
poetry, you will become a deeper thinker. You will become a better person when it has to do with writing. So I began to study poetry, began to read the poems of J.P. Clark, but I didn't like what they called I've forgotten the name, what they call it. All those poems, and when you read them, you're cracking your head to understand what the poem is all
okay.
about.
Sure.
All those
Sure.
Elizabethan, Shakespearean, all those kind of stuff. I didn't like those kind of stuff. So I just wanted poetry that I could understand. So I began to follow people like Tolu, poet Tolu. I don't know, he's not so active on Facebook now, but I was following him, and I remember one of his books that I bought, Your Father Walks Like a Crab. That's the title of
Mm.
that book. Yeah, Your Father Walks Like a Crab. It's a collection of poems. And I read that. I was like, man, this is me. This is the kind of poetry I like to write. So that was how I wrote Steve Nipples. But people didn't really buy it. So till date, I've
Even
not,
with
I've
the
not,
even with the controversial name like that,
yeah,
you
yeah.
would
So,
expect it
yes.
to have some sort of reaction.
Exactly. So, but people just loved Steve Nipples, and they sexualized the whole thing, you know. But they were not buying, So they just made
So
fun of
that
the
it
name.
could have it could have made reference to so many different things. It could have made
Yeah, I
reference to the
get.
weather,
So
the cold, the temperature,
I don't know.
um, being brazen, not being brazen. It could have made reference to so many things, but in the end, do you believe judging a book by its cover
Yes, I
is
believe.
what has made the market actually move?
Yes, I believe in that absolutely. So there are lots of individuals I tell. that
Mm,
people actually judge a book by its cover. That's the
mm,
truth. I know that there are some individuals who still do not judge a book by its cover, but want to
mm.
look at it and all that. But you see, my book, your book will sell. When I go to places to speak, your book we sell is not open. You can't open it. It's totally wrapped. Do you get?
Okay.
It's wrapped front and back. So you can't even say, let me know, let me see what this boy even wrote in this book and see if I would buy it. You know, there's some individuals like that. They go to bookshops, they even read half of the book before they will even pay and take the book home. So, but I said no.
Yeah.
So what
Sure.
I decided was that you see the front cover of the book. The book should speak to you. So you see, your
Okay.
book will sell. What to do to make your published book sell and make lots of money for you? It's speaking directly to you.
Okay.
It has an objective. It has a mission, to help
Yeah.
you to sell
Sure.
your books. And then at the back of my book, I decided to make
Yeah.
it a sales page. A sales page. Not, there are some books you buy. The back is all about the author, how many degrees the author has, where the author went to, all his awards and everything. No, but that's not for me.
Mm,
So for me is that this book, this back side, even though it has a picture of me, has
yeah.
is like a sales page that tells you the benefits of the book and what you
So,
buy.
so I guess the question now is, since you published this book, has
Yeah.
your book sold?
That's what I'm saying. This is my, let me call it my best-selling book, so to say. And if I
Okay.
say
Okay.
best-selling book, people will think that I've sold 10,000 copies. No. And that's another thing that I
Okay.
want people to understand. This book is also a training tool. This book is a consulting tool. This book has been built into an academy. So this book alone is 5,000 naira. But when people come to consult with me on how they can ideas to sell their book, and I charge them 75K a session. Fine.
Mm,
If you don't want that, you can join my academy. My academy is 75K. You join it, you're there for life. So you see, it's not just about selling a copy itself. It's about what you can, the ripple, the how do I put it now? The
effect. Yeah.
concentric circles that you can build around a single book.
Your
Yeah.
message in the book is quite clear.
Mm.
It's unique information. It's niche information. It's solving a problem. People are
Yeah.
looking for this problem to be solved, right?
Yeah.
So, this wasn't planned to be an entertaining piece. It was planned to be informative, and planned to be a guidebook, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, can you let us into some of the messages in the book? Can you let us into any of those secrets in your book right now
Okay.
on
So
how
so
to
so the
help your
book.
book sell?
Okay, for example, the book has 19 chapters actually, but I
Okay.
like chapter seven. Chapter seven is about growing your platform, all right, which is what
Okay.
I told you. And I keep telling authors who connect with me, those who work with me, those who I've had the privilege of speaking to tell them that um, one of the key things that can help your book to sell is you
Mm,
yourself, because I see a lot of
mm,
authors, around us who just author a book and they dissociate themselves from the success or the marketing of the book. And I tell them that that's permit my word, that's bullshit. And I tell them, look, you have to be at the center. They now say, okay, what of Chimamanda Adichie? No, but I'm telling you, you say Chimamanda Adichie, but you find out that when Chimamanda is going to somewhere to speak, she also talks about that her copies of her books will be available. What is that? She's telling you that she's at the center of marketing her
mm.
book. So you yourself, you are a very fundamental piece of the equation for the success
And
of your
that is
written author
someone
book.
who is a bestseller all over the world. She
Exactly,
still talks
bestseller over the
about
world. She still talks about her book. She still,
yeah.
one guy came to visit me in my office yesterday, and the guy said he has written about 4 books. I'm like, four
Mm,
books. So, what is the success? I mean, what's the success rate of the book? And he's like, I just wrote them and I kept them. I'm like, you put them on the platform, on someone else's platform, and you're expecting the book to just sell itself. It doesn't work that way. You have to be at the center of pushing the narratives about your book. So, grow your platform is about what you should be able to do to build yourself into somebody who is known, somebody who is influential, and somebody who is loved. So, what you should do to be able to become known, seen, loved, and accepted, such that when you now bring out a book, people will be willing to buy the book because they are with you, like in a community. They are connected to you. They are reading from you. They are, and part of it is every day since 2011 that I became intentional. Every day I wake up, I'm creating content on my platforms, especially Facebook. I have about 71,200 and something followers right now on Facebook. And I can tell you, I should have been more if I had employed some of the things that I should have known or the things that I
Okay.
know now. Do you get?
Can I
So
can I go
every
into
day,
your content page now one more
okay,
time?
no, no
There was
problem.
another chapter that jumped out at me. It says chapter 6 says screw your design and title up, right?
Okay,
So in other words, when I mentioned earlier on judging a book by its
by its
cover,
cover. Yeah,
do you think things have changed over maybe, let's say, the past decade with regards to the cover design of books? There was a
exactly. Things
time
have changed.
where
Yeah,
it was all about the picture or the color of the book.
yeah,
But
yeah.
now, is it all about the title?
No, it's not. It's the combination of the title and the design. So it's not just the title alone. Also, the design is critically important. And I tell you, there are people whose major work is on how to help you to get the right kinds of design and the right. I mean, part of my learning was understanding also the kind of design to give your book. So I watched a TED speaker, not even a TEDx, TED speaker, who did a full breakdown on how colors, words, fonts that you use for your books affect the perception of the reader. I was like, this is amazing. This is wow. I mean, people who are versed in how to use colors and font styles and pictures to be able to evoke emotion in the heart of the reader. So it's critically important for you to understand that it's not just about just write the title of the book and design anything you like. You must work with an expert who understands how to combine words and pictures and make a very beautiful, compelling, attractive design that will be calling to the reader, come and buy me, come and read my book, come and buy me.
Yeah.
So that's it. So I work with experts. I don't just give my book to anybody and say just no, I work with experts. And they take my mind, they take what is in my head, the message for the book, and then they come up with a great title and great design, working hand in hand with me because I've also studied psychology and design and all that, not even at a deep level, but at least to help in the marketing of my books. So they come up with the design, the concept. We go like a book of mine. Let me give you, if I can give you a little rundown.
Okay.
I wrote another book. It's called Narrate Itself. It's a compilation of short stories. All right,
Now
compilation of
waiting
short
self.
Narrate Itself. Now let me
Okay.
tell you. Do you know the first design that I put out for that book was me lying down on the bed. This was in 2018. I was lying down on the bed. My two hands were inside of my laps. I mean, you know how when men are feeling cold, they put their
Yeah,
hands inside of the lap, just to tap
that was
them
the
warm.
design.
That was the design. When I put out the design, guess what happened? People were saying two things. Number one, that I was sex starved. Number
Oh,
two,
me.
that I wanted to commit suicide. These two, these two reasonings were far away from what I was thinking.
Okay.
I mean, the thing
So
was repeated
so
on the time.
so
People
they
were just
they
commenting
judged
and
it
saying
they
comment.
judged it based on what their own minds could connect with at that point. Okay.
Exactly. And in that 2018, people were committing suicides. If you can remember, one of the CNN, I think Borden or something, committed suicide. I think it was 2018 or so. And so many other young people were committing suicide. And imagine me bringing out a book, and immediately people look at the book, they are now thinking of suicide. They won't buy. They will dissociate themselves from the book. So imagine if I had gone ahead with that design, it would have boomeranged on me.
Okay.
So what I did was that I went back and I started all over again with my designers and I came up with another design.
Mm.
So when we came up with another design and I put it out there, because one of the things I do is to test how my people react to my
So how
designs.
do
That's
you
what
do
we do.
your testing? Do you go across a cross section of people that you are very familiar with, or do you actually put it out there first into the
Now I just put
public
it out there. I just put it out there. I just put it
Okay.
out there and say, let people just talk about what they think about the book. you
Mm.
know. And so I put it out there. People who are following me, people who drag their friends, come and see what Emeka Nobis has done. they'll now come and they'll, oh no, this is not good. Oh no, this is how I feel. Oh no, down to even the colors, down to
Mm.
colors, red or yellow, all the, so you can use a very sharp red, and somebody will tell you that
Yeah.
no, this book is shouting at me. I don't like the way it's shouting at me. No, this type, this
Okay.
maybe you're teaching
Yeah.
something about kids, right?
Okay.
And then the color is strikingly red. They're like, no, you're shouting at me. So it means that if a book that is red like that, I mean the child may be perceiving it that you're shouting at, and people don't like now in our time people who are shouting at kids. So you see
Okay.
that these
Okay.
things have ways that they play on people's minds and emotions, and you have to, see how you can test and go back
Yeah.
to drawing board and bring out something that
So
people in the market will buy.
it does seem like the reading culture over the years has started to wane. And when I use the word wane, I mean it's just falters. It goes up, it goes down. Now with the advent of ebooks, um, it's hard to find the average individual with a hardcover. Now we hear a lot of motivational speakers, coaches, consultants say, keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. But it's hard for you to find someone with an actual physical copied book. Now, it does feel like in your book you make reference to quite a lot of social media guidelines and guidance on some of the most basic advice that you find social media influencers giving to even the average entrepreneur. So
Okay.
let's talk about the connection now. Um, Authoring a book and running a business, what are the similarities? Can you compare and contrast?
Yeah. I tell people that you can build a business on a book. That's the truth. You can build a business in a book. So let's say that you are in the business of, I'm trying to find the right, okay, let me use my friend. My friend, she is an architect, right? And she launched a book on how you can build a house. You can build a house with just by having the basic funds. You don't need to have all the millions together at the same time. And that book is like a manual on how you can build your dream house. Now, because of that book alone, a lot of individuals are reaching out to her to hire her to be their architect. So she's in the business of building, she's in the business of designing homes.
Okay, it does seem
But
like
she's riding upon that book that's hiring her. I don't know if I cut off at some point. Sorry.
no,
You
it's
get what I
fine. Go
mean?
ahead. Go
You
ahead.
can build a business on a book. So it could be that you are, let's say, for example, you're a baker, and one of the issues that I see, like many even say, it, my friend, her name is Peniel. She's based here in the city of Port Harcourt. So she came to me and I said to her that you're spending so much energy baking cakes and doing food and all that kind of stuff. Can you find a problem within the food industry that you can solve, especially those who are food vendors who cook at functions? She went back and came back and said to me that there's a common language that those who are in the food business, there's something that always they always say. So they go to serve food at functions and they come back. What they say, I know they see my money. I know see my money.
Wow. Wow.
Meaning that they don't understand the inputs and the output. So they just buy things in the market, no structure, no measuring, nothing, and then they just go to function. And at the end of the day, they're not seeing their profits. So I said to her, "What should you do?" He said, "Emeka, this is where I will have to play my game." I said, "Fine." So today, this lady Peniel has written books that have to do with structuring, written books that have to do with how to structure your business, how to price your business. If you're a food vendor, and people are moving towards her. Do you know now what happens is now that people call her to speak? Those in the food business. I remember last year, I think she went all the way to Gambia. They called her to come and speak on pricing for food
Okay.
business people. Now they call her to come and, like, somebody is opening up a food business, and they call her to come and structure the business first so that the business can have a great foundation. So we see that now she's building a business upon her book. So I tell individuals who are in business, tell them you should publish a book. whatever business that you are in, there's the intellectual side of it that you can put in form of a book and that can make you an authority and people will want to work with you just because you published the book.
Essentially, monetizing your knowledge.
Yeah.
Uh, Monetizing it, encapsulating it, and putting it in a book is another way to make money. But let's talk a little bit about this now. There was a particular time. Now you shared an experience in your book about how you were being classified as a risk by a foreign company in around 2010, which kind of made you feel inadequate, so to speak. So, what are those limiting beliefs that might be plaguing writers or authors, and how do you think they can overcome it?
Okay. Sorry, I think network cut me off at some point. Sorry.
Okay, not to worry. I was just talking about something you said in your book. You did mention that you were being classified as a risk by a foreign company in 2010. It was kind of enough to make you feel a little inadequate, so to speak. And there are possibly some beliefs or some things that might have been plaguing you at that point in time. Possibly there are authors watching or listening right now. How do you think they can overcome these challenges?
At the time it happened, I think network cut me off, but I know you were talking about there was something I did at the time. If I learned in neuro-linguistic programming that failure is not failure, failure is a feedback. So when I got that feedback, these people call me a risk. But there was something they said to me. They said to me, "There's a man that is in the city of Port Harcourt, and his name is Bishop David Ibioye. I'm sorry, David Ibioye, Ibiyome, that they had published for the man." And I went, and I'm like, okay, they published for David Ibiome because David Ibiome has a thriving church. And if David Ibiome goes to church and says, "Hey guys, the Lord has spoken to me, buy this book today," trust me, 10,000 people will line up to buy the book because it's David Ibiome. It also boils down to building your platform. So there was a man, an Italian guy, that I went to meet in my office at the time because then I used to work for Saipem at the time, the oil servicing company I told you. So I went to see him. His name is I've forgotten his name. Sorry, Franco Lucarella. So I went to Franco Lucarella and said to him, "Look at what this," because they sent me an email. So I showed Franco the email. Do you know what Franco said? Franco said, "Go and build yourself to the point that people will now demand to publish you. Go and build yourself to the point that you don't need to beg anymore, but they will demand to publish you." And that was what I started doing. I started building myself to become that individual that is influential, that people know, that people love. And trust me, now I'm the brand ambassador of a publishing company. I don't spend money, my own money anymore, to publish my book. So with the contract I have with this is my third year running. No, this is my second year running. They are going to renew my contract again on the 23rd of this month. You see that now I don't spend my money to publish my. Then I was begging to have a company publish my book, but because I'm now brand ambassador as a result of building my own platform to become influential, these guys gave me a contract that they can publish four of my books every year without me making paying for them. So that's what I'm enjoying right now. So if I had felt bad and said to myself, "Oh, these people are racist. Oh, these people don't like black people. Oh, this, that," and then I just allowed myself to be wallowing in that self pity or that pitiable situation, to say, what is the feedback that I'm getting from what these people said to me? The feedback was, "Guy, you are not known. You you are just, I don't know, you are not known, you are not popular." That's the feedback. So the feedback I got was, go and build your popularity, go and build your influence, go and build your
So,
fame. And then I started doing
so
that.
the assumption would be, well, for someone like myself, if I put out a book or announced that I was writing a book, people would jump on it. But there still has to be a message that you're trying
Yes,
to
of course.
share?
Of course. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are so many factors. There are quite some factors that contribute to the success of a book. I'm just saying that there are elements. You have to
Mm,
factor in these elements so that your book can become a success. Design,
okay.
your platform, your social media, your author platform. I mean, different things, your paid ads, use of influencers, a lot of things that you have to come in to make your book a success. Do you get what I mean? So it's not just because it's you. There are some other things you need to consider. Because it's you, you're not going to do a whack design.
Mm,
Because I tell individuals, if this book a on a bookshelf and I'm not there, and the individual who's looking at the book doesn't know who Emeka Nobis is, will they buy? You have to be able to answer that question. Will they buy? If the individual is looking at the book, he doesn't know who you are, he doesn't know who Emeka Nobis is, and he's just looking at the book on the shelf, will he make a
mm,
buying decision based on what he's looking at? So that's why. So that's why I said the title of my book is just objective. It's just there in your face. It tells you the problem and tells you that this book is going to solve your problem. So if you have that problem, the moment you look at the book, you know that the book will solve your problem, and you pick it up and you buy. So it's not just because they know who I am, although knowing who I am is another factor that contributes to the success of the book. So there are some individuals that there is a guy that I know. That guy has bought all my books, all. I mean all. And he said to me that as long as he lives and as long as I'm authoring books, whatever it is that I write, he will buy. He doesn't even care. He
There's
has
some
bought.
true believers out there.
I'm telling you. So he's the one that bought the book of. He has bought my book of poetry. He has bought my book, the book of fiction. He has bought all my non-fiction books, including e-books, both printed and e-books. He has bought all of them. And he said to me, as long as I'm alive, as long as you're alive and you're authoring books, any book you release, I will buy. So that's to tell you. He has come to
Okay.
believe in me. It's not about the book now. It's about me. He may even
Mm.
buy and give away to someone else without even reading. Do
I
you
want
get?
to
So
touch quickly, as quickly as possible, on social media and the internet. Now, obviously,
yeah,
I showed a screenshot here of your book on Amazon, and it's available on Amazon and most likely so many other online platforms. Can you touch quickly on how important online platforms are to the success of your book sales?
yeah, they are very important because some individuals we hear about your book. Two things actually. Number one, they have a problem that they want to solve, and so now in our times, what people usually do is that when they have a problem, they quickly go on Google and then they type it. How can I have my book sell? How can I make my baby eat food? How can I make love to my spouse? All those kind of things. They type it in Google. The moment they type it in Google, things will start popping up, popping up, popping up. So imagine that the individual typed in, I want to market my book or something like that. How can I market my book? My book pops up, an individual clicks, and then he lands on Amazon. He buys. Amazon can deliver to him anywhere in the world. That's why my book is on Amazon. All right. My book is also on a Nigerian platform and is on the Amazon, which is an international platform where somebody can land there. And the thing is that there are some individuals, I mean, the delivery free from here to anywhere. Because I realized that in 2020 when I launched this book, some individuals bought outside of Nigeria, and the delivery to deliver the book to US or to UK was like twice or three times the cost of the book. And so many of them were like, "Oh no, it's too expensive. I know I've bought it. Please give it to somebody else." And so that was why I had to put my book on Amazon. So anybody in the US, in the UK, I mean, people have bought my book in different parts of the world. Some in Italy, some in UK, some in US, some in Japan, in different, some in Australia, some in Canada. So immediately they say, "Oh, okay." I say, go on Amazon." They just go on Amazon, type, and then they buy my book, and it's easy. They get some people will even buy, and in 2 days they have the book in their house, from Amazon. So that's the importance of putting your book on online platforms because they can help for the ease of the sales of your book and for deliverability. So that's what I can say.
I have to say a big thank you to you, Emeka Nobis, for talking to us today about your book. Now, the title of the book in focus for today is Your Book Will Sell. There's some interesting tips on how and what to do to make your published book sell and make lots of money for you, which is something a lot of people have probably been wondering about, and I think is an amazing selling point for this particular book. And Emeka Nobis, we will be reaching out to you again to come talk to us about your upcoming material. We know you're working on other great stuff, and
Yeah,
we're looking forward to whatever it is that comes up next.
I'm doing
Thank you
four.
so much. Thank you.
I'm doing four at a time. I want to launch four books on my. I've never launched
Four.
more. Yeah, I've never
Wow.
launched more than a book per time. So, but
Okay.
I'll be 43 next year. So I decided that on my 43rd birthday, I'm going to release four books. So I'm working on four
Four.
books now. Yeah,
Wow.
a book on poetry, a collection of short stories,
Mm.
a book on how I resigned from my job and I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Wow.
Because a lot of individuals are asking me how, and guess the title, "Dear Boss, I Quit." See how I do my titles, man. "Dear Boss, I Quit." So
I can't wait to see it. I
yeah,
can't wait to see it.
and then the
Emeka,
final
I
one
wish there
is
was more.
yeah.
I wish there was more time, but I do have another guest coming on very,
Okay,
very soon. But we had
thank
quite a
you.
few messages. A big shout out to Par Network, who has been online since we started the conversation. Also, a big shout out to Balogu Matthew, who have been commenting. And of course, if you have any comments or contributions, or you would like to, hear from us again, just make sure you subscribe to this particular channel. However, you listen to us or watched us, it could be YouTube, could be LinkedIn, could be Facebook, could be Instagram. We're live very regularly. Once you follow and click the bell, you'll be getting notifications on when we are live next. All right, then. Thank you so much, Emeka.
Thank you very much, Titi. I'm grateful.
All right, then. Have a great day.
You too.
And for those of you who are still tuned in, it's been a pleasure being with you. And I go live a few times a week with so many different interesting conversations. There's another conversation coming your way in a little while. I'm going to have a very interesting young lady pop by on blockchain mastery in just a bit. You don't want to go anywhere.